Hello everyone, welcome to Dhamma USA weekly Sunday session. Today we have Venerable Bhante Master Shanthasobhana with us. Venerable was born in the sacred city of Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka. He has received a systematic, comprehensive education in the Theravada Buddhist tradition for 12 years. He was ordained as a Sammir in the Theravada Buddhist tradition in 1988 and as a Buddhist monk in 1997. He has mastered Hatha Yoga for a longer period in a monastery in India. Bhante is also a well-known martial arts and a healing arts teacher. Up to date, Bhante has taught Buddhist meditation in India, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, United Kingdom, France, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and Switzerland. Currently, he lives and practices in Los Angeles, California. Venerable Bhante's aim is to deepen his practice of Buddhist meditation. His practice facilitates exploration of the void or no self phenomenon in life. Having gained knowledge and deeper spiritual understanding, he hopes to help fellow human beings gain deeper spiritual and mental insights. He also wishes to share his experience and spread spiritual wellness so that others too may experience the highest form of human intellect. Today's topic is four things that turn the mind to the Dhamma. May I please request you, Venerable Bhante, for today's Dhamma talk?
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened one. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, and first of all, I would like to give my heartiest respect to Dhamma US giving me this opportunity and to share some Dhamma with you. And also, I really appreciate that all of you join with us today. So, when it comes to Buddha's teaching, it is very important for us to reflect on it a little bit deeply. More than any other time, nowadays it is very necessary because now we most of time listen to this online videos, Dhamma talks, and more than any other time, this meditation and Dhamma and enlightenment, wisdom, these words are very popular. There are a lot of informations keep coming towards us. So it is your responsibility to understand this very carefully and get the very clear teachings. So that's why it's always necessary for you to listen to the Dhamma, and at the same time, if there is a possibility, it is better for you to little bit go into the sutras also. So at the same time, we have to look into the very meaning of this whole practice. Because now we see people practice this Dhamma, meditation, with many reasons. And see, some people try to find the happiness and satisfaction. Some people want to find the calmness in their mind. Some people want to have a very productive life in their with this day-to-day activities. And some people need to have some kind of health benefit. Somehow, when it comes to this all, we have to remember that what the Buddha taught is totally different than that today what we looking for. So from the beginning, I have to mention, you don't need to take this what I'm going to tell as a gospel truth. So you are responsible, you are capable, you are mature to understand this and evaluate yourself, examine yourself, investigate yourself, little bit more deeply think yourself and see what this is. Because nowadays we can see there is a meaning crisis. The meaning crisis means the very authentic, original, organic meaning of the words or the dharma, the most of time we can't find. As example, when it comes to happiness, what we mean by happiness. When it comes to satisfaction, what we mean by satisfaction, because it is just only your happiness, how it is possible then? How about other people? And if it is just only about other people's happiness, then how about you? Or maybe both of us, me and you, we all in this very moment of happiness. Then how about the next moment? Who are responsible for that next moment? And at the same time, when it comes to tranquility state, everybody look for samadhi or the tranquility state. So then you have to look into yourself and see what you mean by tranquility state. Another thing nowadays, a lot of people talk about consciousness. So what do you mean by consciousness? And at the same time, there are people talk about liberation or the nibbana. So then you have to be very clear with the idea that you have, what you mean by the liberation or the nibbana. So when it comes to that, so today we have to accept this Buddha's teaching came through so far like 2,600 years, this journey, it came with this human existence. It mixed with many colors and it added with many kind of definitions. And today we have the Dhamma, but still we have to have a very clear mind to know what the Buddha very really mean by through this Dhamma. So if we go to the very early stage of the Buddha's teaching, that in that time, we call it early Buddhism. In that time, most of time people had the very clear, honest, authentic desire to get into Dhamma. So today, as Dhamma, sometimes we take this Buddhism. Actually, in the early stages, there is no word called Buddhism. Buddha never talked about Buddhism. So then what the Buddha taught about? So today we can see Buddhism develop as a culture, tradition, believing system, as a religion. And at the same time, in universities, there are many faculties to study it as a subject. But according to the Buddha's teaching, actually this is a method of self-realization. This is the very purpose of this. And other thing is, this is directly go towards the Nibbana. Not about just the happiness, not about just the satisfaction, not about getting to a more higher existence. This is about Nibbana. So these two things are very important to understand. So then you have to remember whatever you practice today, you have to merge with this main purpose if you want to get the right result. Because as you know, when it comes to happiness and satisfaction, there are many other methods people use in the world. And when it comes to success, there are many other ways that people can gain it. But the very important part when it comes to the Dharma or the Buddha's teaching, there is no any other method. There is no any other clear path how person can clearly come to this self-realization and to gain the Nibbana. This is the only way that still we have around us. So then when you practice Buddhism means, remember always you have to have that end goal. You have to know where this heading, these all teachings, even when it comes to all our that moral disciplinary practice, which we call the sila, and even the tranquility state, samadhi, and finally the wisdom. So this all related to the Nibbana. And there are many other, every religion, every nation, every time people used to practice some kind of moral discipline. So people always had some kind of ethical behavior. It is not a kind of like a important thing only for Buddhism. But what is the difference when it comes to sila or the moral practice? It is this sila that what we practice is directly related to the Nibbana, directly related to the liberation, directly related to the self-realization. Even the tranquility state also the same. Whoever practice meditation need to understand that samadhi or the tranquility state, it is a very old system. It is, and even before the Buddha, that all these high mental powers, tranquility method used to be in the world. But what is the difference when it comes to the Buddha's teaching? This tranquility practice always related to the Nibbana. And then the wisdom path also, people have the wisdom related to many other subjects in many different ways. But this is here, the wisdom means what? That how we can attain to Nibbana. So then always remember whatever you practice, even your culture, tradition, and your chanting, your day-to-day activities related to the Buddha's teaching. Always you have to remember that little by little you have to guide your mind towards the idea of Nibbana. And when it comes to the early Buddhism, as I mentioned from the beginning, the very purpose was self-realization. Why we have to realize this self? Because the self has many different layers. And people always used to think about what is this, how this happened. And it's people nowadays, it is very famous about this hard problem about consciousness. What is this? From where this happened? Why this happened like this? So when it comes to that, the very first thing you have to remember that what you know about you is not you. I will repeat this. What you know about you is not you. There is an unknown behavior, there is an unknown person, inside this skin. So if you don't know who is this behind this skin, or who is this person this hiding inside this, by the time suddenly that unknown person can overtake your life, overtake the situations. So that's why it is better from the beginning, you understand this, what is happening within yourself. This is the practice we call introspection, because we always look into outside and think what is happening there, what is happening here, what is happening there. But we never look into what is happening inside us. So it is very necessary to know the very condition of your mind, very condition of your inner behavior. Why? Because the very foundation of this whole experience is our mind. So then according to the condition of our mind, that whatever we experience can change. Remember that. So then always look into you. See this, how the mind behaves. So when it comes to this today, this Dhamma talk, I want to give you some information to reflect always in your day-to-day life, because that will help you to create a bridge in between your conventional life to your spiritual life. Rather than forgetting your conventional life and go towards looking for a spiritual life, so you have to develop a science, method, system, mechanism to transform this conventional life to your spiritual experience. So I hope these four informations, this kind of like these are like four pillars to get into your spiritual life. So there are many other activities you perform, but it is very necessary. Always everybody need to reflect on this each and every time. First in the morning, last in the evening, and whatever you do in day-to-day life, whatever the up and downs that happen in your life. So during that time, always you have to think about this. Because when you think like that way, whatever you think, always remember, whatever you think, you become. So it is very important to know what we keep thinking. So that's why to keep thinking, you need some information. So whatever the information available, you always think about it. So listening to Dhamma means what? You can gain new informations, and then by the time you can think about it. So when you keep thinking about it, it become a part of your life. So once it become a part of your life, then you are capable to maintain it, handle it when the necessary situations come. So these four principles, I hope for you to develop your spiritual path will help, and think about it. And at the same time, always remember, you no need to accept this, and you no need to follow this. You no need to believe this, because there is a monk came and told this. You are always need to think you are independent, and no one can push you to believe something, and no one can guide you to follow something. So that is the principle of the Buddha's teaching. We never going to push somebody, or we never going to give something to believe. What we can do, we can share the information and keep your freedom to yourself, and then think yourself. and try to understand it by you, because there is a knowledge in you. Try to use it. So when it comes to that, the very first principle that always you have to remember, this human life is very, very precious. And this is very rare. Remember, the life you have is not going to happen every day. And then you have to put some value on you. You always have to think about you. Of course, we think about other things, but always remember, this life you have is so precious. And to have a human life that is one of the biggest miracle can happen in this world, if you believe miracles. So your life itself is a miracle. And then always look into you, appreciate yourself. And at the same time, remember, so the first one, gaining a human life is difficult. Another thing is, once you come to the mother's womb, your mother and father sacrificed their life to take care of you. And from that point, very first 5-10 years, they always go behind you and they invest their whole life for you. And after that, not only the family, the society, the country invest their time, energy, space, money, everything for you. So then you are responsible to take care of it. You can't just think, this is my life, I do whatever I want. No, other people invest for you, especially your parents, your family members. And at the same time, you have to remember, not only you just take care of yourself, the invisible, this entire nature help for us to be like this. Because life happened because of the breathing. That is the very fundamental foundation of our life, breath. So then just imagine when you go to sleep, this all the environment, this nature absorb all the carbon dioxide and start to release the oxygen for us to live like this. So you are depending from this nature. These bees, honey bees go here and there and so busy and doing the pollination. And then by the time end of the day, you can have beautiful flowers, beautiful these fruits, vegetables and things. And these other animals invisibly help for us to have this life like this. Head to toes, your entire body, there are many that bacteria and trying to take care of you. They are always patrolling, they are always police your body to keep you healthy. And sometimes you don't care about this. You think, oh, everything happened very easy. Oh, I do whatever I want. No, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of animals, there are a lot of living beings invest their life to keep your life like this. And at the same time, you have to remember, so morning to night, this maintaining this life properly is not easy. You have to have some energy for that. So first thing, life is precious. And the second thing is, it's hard to maintain. Remember that. It's not easy. It is not only you, and there are a lot of other people, and it is hard to maintain. The third one, you always have to reflect each and every day. It can very easily disappear. When the life disappear, it don't take much time. Within 1 second, it can disappear. It happened through this entire human civilizations. It's going to happen to us also. When the time comes for you to go, there is no second chance. Always remember that. In this life, this is a one-way journey. You can't take U-turns. So then always that whatever the time you have, take it as a greater opportunity for you. Knowingly, there is no second chance. So then you have to give your best, and you have to do your best and get the best out of the situation. And that way, you become a more profitable person. So we always try to be happy. Nothing wrong being happy. But when it come to life, more than become happy, what the Buddha taught. So the Buddha talked about the being beneficial to yourself. Sometimes what you going to be happy, whatever the happiness, may be not going to become beneficial to us. So whatever beneficial for you will help you to become more better person, and it develop your inner life, and at the same time it make you more productive person to you and your family, society, to the world. So then always look into you when a situation comes. Don't get mesmerized with the idea of happiness, joy, pleasure. Always look, is it beneficial to you? This is what we call profitable actions. So if it is beneficial for you, and out of your bodily, verbally, mentally actions, you can perform it. But if it is not beneficial, remember, as soon as possible, withdraw from it and maintain your life with some kind of self-discipline. Why? Because you are responsible to take care of your life. The truth is, there is no one to take care of you. Always you have to take care of your life. Of course, other people may help us, but end of the day, we are responsible for us. So because of that, knowingly this truth, always do your best. So those are the first thing that you have to remember every day. This life is very rare, and this life very easily, it's very not easy to maintain, hard to maintain, and at the same time, easy to disappear. So once it go, you can't bring it back. So then reflect on this and put some self-value on you, and respect yourself, appreciate yourself. In that way, your mind always be comfortable with you. So otherwise, when the mind is not comfortable to be inside your body, because your body is the home for your mind. When you are not comfortable within yourself, mind always go here and there. That is what we call monkey mind. Why? It is always jumping here and there. So put self-value on you, appreciate yourself, and understand you are a gift. So the second thing that you have to reflect on, this all conditions, things in this world are impermanent. So whatever the situation come, nothing permanent. So this nothing permanent, this is a very famous word. But today we are going to little bit more look into more deeper, because most of time people look this outside material world and we think, oh, this is impermanent, and because of that I have to let it go. And that way we always kind of like think, oh, I understand this impermanent. But here, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, of course, the material world impermanent. So why it is impermanent? Because it all arises based with the four elements: heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So whatever the material properties that you have, and that properties, if you break it down, then you can get the atom. And when you break down the atom, you get this subatomic particles, electron, neutron, and proton. And if you take the electron or the neutron or the proton, and if you break it down, then you get the quarks. And if you take the quark and break it down, then you see this vibration. This one called string theory. It's always vibrating. So why it vibrate? It because of the heat. So the very fundamental energy of this universe is the world, what we experience, it's come from the heat. And so that is the only property that the scientists found out. But according to the Buddha's teaching, this all come out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So that is why this everything change. Because whatever you see is not independent, permanent, something. It's always depend on something, and it is an effect of something. So then this cause and effect always everywhere in everything. There's nothing in independent when it comes to this material world. So that understanding is reasonable. But still that is not here that understanding impermanent mean. It is a one part. So you have to remember that when you experience this world as experiencer, within your form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition, in this 5 aggregates, that what you experience as the subject point of view, that is impermanent. So in you, whatever arises, whatever you recognize, it's not going to be there. So then just imagine, rather than looking about something, object-wise we try to recognize and we think, oh, it is impermanent. But how about the subject? How about the experiencer? So we never look into experiencer. We think, oh, I am the one who experiencing this all. I am the one who experienced this change. No, that whoever experienced this world, that person change. So then always remember that whatever you experience with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, it always change. Don't hold it to yourself with your self-centered view, thinking it is permanent. No, it's always, it's like a river. So always change. So that's why introspection, when you look into yourself, it will help you to see that how the things change in you. If you understand that, it doesn't matter this outside material world change or not, because anymore you are not going to hold it to it. Why? Because then you know there's no one to hold like that. Why? Because whatever you experience in that very moment, within your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, it changes. So that is the second part that you always have to remember and reflect, remind, review. If you look into that, then you will see that. Is it right or wrong? That is truth or not? So without looking into it, without searching yourself, don't try to believe that, because truth is not to believe. Remember that. That's why what the Buddha always mentioned, one part most of time we missing in the world. We have the Shraddha or the faith, conviction, and we always have the effort or the energy, and we always have the teachings, and we always have try to practice, and we always sometimes so disciplined. Those are very old, and it is not even that we practice that. Every day, everywhere, every religion, culture, there are many other methods that people develop with this kind of way. But what is the difference with the discipline when it comes to faith, when it comes to conviction, when it comes to effort, when it comes to energy, when it comes to tranquility state? What is the difference that with other things and the Buddha's teaching? It's like this. When you wash your hands, you use one hand to clean, wash other hand. So like when you wash your feet, you can rub each other and clean your both feet together. So same like you use the both hand to wash the both hands. Always you have to remember, if you have the faith, just believing something in Buddhism, not accept. Just become disciplined, not accept. Just tranquilizing, not accept. You always have to keep the wisdom next to your trust or the believing system. Always you have to have the wisdom next to your effort. Always you have to have the wisdom next to your energy. Always you have to have the wisdom next to your tranquility mind, tranquility practice. Just having sila or moral discipline, it for what? It good for conventionally, it make you feel good. But you have to have the wisdom next to it. Faith, of course, it is very necessary, but believing something, useless. Why you have to believe that? So that's why you have to have the wisdom next to it. So then always remember yourself, when it comes to this practice, especially when it comes to understanding this impermanent, it is not about that just you know something. It need to be with the wisdom. So then the introspection, when you look into deeper yourself, you see how this happens. And when you know yourself, the experiencer always change. And naturally, there is nothing to let go. Why? Because there is nothing to hold. There is no person to hold. So then that way, you're going to be free from it. And then the next one is, always remember, karma always overtake our life. So whatever the situation come, and sometimes that, as you know, in day-to-day life, other people overtake our life. Like fire department, when there is a fire happen, fire department going to overtake your situation. If there is an accident, inspector come and going to overtake your situation. So like always in your life, there is karma sometimes can overtake your situation, your life. So that's why you have to do good karma. And also the next one, and always you have to remember this karma overtake our life. As I mentioned, sometimes just imagine when there is a fire happen, we call 911. So when the fire department come, even though it is our house, we can't interfere with it. And they say stay away, and they're going to overtake the situation. Just imagine when you drive somewhere, you get met with the accident, and then you call inspector, that the police come, and they're going to overtake the situation. Anymore, you can't do anything. You have to provide whatever the necessary information. Just imagine you go to emergency room. When you go there, the doctor going to, once you register, doctor going to overtake your situation. You can't tell, don't do this, don't do that. You can't tell that. So they're going to overtake. So like that, always remember, there are some situations come in our life. This everything go beyond our hand, and karma overtake our life. Not all the time, but sometimes. So then always remember, when you have opportunity, do good actions, good karma. We all know what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. So then, as much as, so whatever available, whatever possible things, try to do your best. That's it. And the fourth things that you always have to remember, every day you have to know, you have to reflect. Anytime you can go away, and this anything is not belong to you. Even though you have this all, always think about it. This anything is not belong to you. Because we think in the other way. We think, oh, I have this, I have that. Even the material things around us, even the people around us, we think like that. But the truth is, even though this all here, one day, this will disappear, or maybe we have to go away from that things, or that things will go away from us. Somehow, someday, this all going to separate. So reflect on it. While you having this, just reflect on it. So that way, these four principles. The first principle, life is precious, hard to maintain, easy to disappear. Second thing, all conditions, things impermanent, outside, object-wise, and the subject-wise experience. And the third one is the karma sometimes overtake your life. The fourth principle, nothing belong to you. You are not belong to anything. So both way you have to remember, nothing belong to you, you are not belong to anything. So if you reflect on this, whenever you have time, if you keep it in your mind, if you start to have an inner conversation with these four principles, it will help you to create a bridge within this conventional life towards your spiritual development. So with that, I hope this will help for you to have some understanding and develop your practice with your day-to-day activities. So by the power of these all meritorious activities, I wish upon you, may all the success and happiness be upon you. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bless you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante.